What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday night. Welcome to another wonderful edition of Chips and Dish here on the All About the Birds Network. I, of course, am your host, Chip Keggy at Chip for the Birds, joined tonight by two fantastic members of the All About the Birds team. We are joined on my side here by Adam Mack, Daddy Adam Mack, NFL, our draft guru, and of course, you don't know him necessarily yet, but you might. We got intern Mike down below, Mike Devlin 12. What's up, people? What's going on?
Living the dream. Just another Monday in Philly sports.
Hooray!
Oh yeah, living the dream. Just Philly sports. Is pretty much our lives at this point, and sometimes it's crazy, sometimes it's happy. Mostly just crazy.
Right now, it's dysfunctional. Like, Kyle, what's going on, man? Right now, it's dysfunctional. And as I'm getting this show ready, I'm thinking, all right, well, yeah, there's not a lot of positivity. Like, we're going to talk about the draft because that seemed to be the only team that did what they needed to do this weekend. They were told, hey, draft some players, and they went out and drafted some players. But the Sixers, they played poorly against some teams that were starting one starter. The Phillies, we're going to talk a lot about the Phillies. The Flyers, Matt, I knew you were going to comment in. Matt tells me the Flyers are winning 4-0. Matt, the Flyer season is over, man. We said we weren't going to talk about it. We're talking about it. The Flyers are awful. The Flyers are terrible. And my two gentlemen here, they're like, do we have to? I'm like, I know Matt would be disappointed if we didn't. So here's what I'm going to say about the Flyers. The Flyers grossly underperformed this year to a pathetic level. They say there's no coaching changes coming, but let's call it like it is. This team was not prepared to play many games. This team keeps letting in the first goal. This team, dumps and chases, but doesn't actually chase. They just are dump. I'm really excited for the Seattle Kraken next season. That's what I'm going to say. I'm really excited for the Seattle Kraken next season. How about you guys?
They got the best unis in the league now. Them things are beautiful.
With the snake and the eyeball? Oh, interesting question here. Grossly underperformed or consistently overrated every year? That is a fantastic question. Look, good teams take their players, regardless of skill level, and play to their ability. Bad teams take players, regardless of their skill level, and play below what is expected. You have a goalie who is pretty damn good, What do? You don't give them any defense, and to the point you have to shut them down. You have aging stars in this league who are no longer playing like that. I mean, and Matt's saying they're going to make the playoffs next year. Cool. You're talking about Seattle, right? The Seattle Kraken. Hashtag let's get Kraken. I said that on Twitter, and Seattle Kraken, the team was like, we like that. We're going to use that. So look for me to start representing the Seattle Kraken on the All About the Birds network. Speaking of the NHL, we do have to put something out in the universe right now. So I told you it was going to happen. The NHL Future Goals Teacher of the Year competition. It is up. It is running. You can vote. You can vote for Don Conaway. It's the only reason why I am wearing a Mighty Ducks jersey right now. Because if you look at the back, it says Conway. This is who you need to vote for, people. That's it. You can vote multiple times each day. You can vote from your Twitter. You can vote from your Facebook. You can vote from your email. If you have your MySpace password, you can vote from there. You can vote from Internet Explorer, from Chrome, from Firefox. Vote, 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 vote. It's for $20,000 for the students. Vote for Don. I'm going to keep putting that link up all show. And it's literally, I'm not joking, 2 clicks. You click, you find Don, you submit. That's it. So make sure you vote. Real quick, let's pay some other bills before we get some things. All About the Birds. We are sponsored by quite a few wonderful companies. So Hemp Bombs, premium CBD products, hempbombs.com, promo code AATBirds for 20% off. I do not partake, but I know Phil would not be able to deal with me if he did not partake. So clearly the product works. So check out the premium CBD products of hempbombs.com. 99 jersey. I do partake here. That is what this lovely Mighty Ducks jersey is from. 99jersey.com. They got your movie jerseys. They got your college throwback jerseys. They got all kinds of cool stuff. I myself, I have my Kobe jersey. I'm getting a Shaquille O'Neal LSU jersey coming. They got cool stuff. I made sure to get my size though, and not his size, because I would need a swimming pool to fit in that thing. Statement games, fun free twist on fantasy sports. Oddsjam.com. I don't know any of this stuff. This is the betting stuff. You gentlemen are probably better with these items than me. Of course, the All About the Birds shop, and one of my personal favorites, Manscaped.com. It's partnered with All About the Birds. We use the code AATBirds for 20% off and free shipping at checkout. I am currently wearing their boxer shorts. I can't, I'm showing the jersey. I can't show the boxer shorts because, it's not 9 o'clock yet. So we got to still keep it PG. But yeah, so make sure you check us out. Support the people who are supporting us. All right. Mr. Mac Daddy.
Mr.
We're talking NFL draft stuff. That is a pretty sweet jersey. The dial-up is slow, but I'll get it. Are you talking about who you vote for? I like it. All right. Mr. Mac Daddy, I do believe there was an NFL draft of some kind this weekend.
Was there?
I do believe there was an NFL draft of some kind this weekend where the Eagles partook in some picks. My wife chiming in, talking about the manscapedness. Okay, we're going that place on the next Chips and Miss. Excellent. Cheers. Adam, basic thoughts about the draft as a whole for the NFL, for the Eagles. What was your big takeaways from this weekend? Spotlight Adam.
I think it lived up to its craziness. I remember before the live show, we were talking about, we think there's going to be a lot of trades. It's going to be just a lot of stuff we don't expect. And it lived up to that. We had guys that were going mid-day 2 that I had high first-round grades on. A lot of big trades. A team that I didn't think was trading up, traded all the way up to 11 and took my favorite player in the draft. So I think it lived up to the hype. It lived up to the craziness. Probably one of the best drafts in the last few years of just pure entertainment. So, and you're talking overall as the NFL. So talking about some players just across the league, who was one player that fell really far
that completely caught you off guard?
So it has to be Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah, the linebacker from Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
I had him as the second best linebacker in the draft going. I said in some ways I thought he was going to go before Parsons because of Parsons off the field issues. I expected Karamoah to be very first pick or high first pick for the linebackers and falling all the way to the second round to the Browns. And then today hearing a report that he had a heart condition, so that kind of dropped him. It's kind of one of those things with the combine, not having a combine, not getting all those medical tests. It kind of took a lot of people off guard when he started falling, but I think he found a good home in Cleveland. But that I was very shocked that he fell and then continued to fall, and finally a team took the risk on him.
Right, and I think the heart thing that you mentioned, A2 Deville saying Montez Sweat fell 2 years ago, and he's doing okay for himself. But I think the heart thing that you mentioned is really important because there was no combine. You don't really get to put these guys through a full physical workout, and it matters. It really does matter. So you hear this piece of, well, he's got a heart condition, and teams didn't get a chance to do their own thing, send their own doctors in, really poke and prod him, and they went, well, we'd rather not take a chance. Who, Adam, was drafted way too high?
I think it's another linebacker, Zaven Collins, to Arizona. They reached very far on him. He was a guy I was expecting to go early day 2. And just as a weird matchup between him and Isaiah Simmons. The Cardinals didn't use Isaiah Simmons very well last year on their first-round pick. So to think that they kind of reached for another linebacker who not really sure how they're going to utilize him. But then there's always the Raiders who get a guy they can get in the 3rd round. They draft him in the 1st. Pretty John Gruden type of move. So not really surprised, but surprised that John Gruden continued his tradition of stupidity.
See, it's funny that you mentioned Collins because every mock that I was looking at, or I should say a lot of mocks that I was looking at, had him going to the Cardinals in the 1st round. Like that actually wasn't a surprise as far as that they took him. I think it was more of a surprise that they were willing to take him at that spot. Like they said that this was going to be the pick, but mocks are supposed to be wrong in a sense, and that one kind of lived up to it. Intern Mike, what say you? What surprised you about draft weekend? Who got given a gift of somebody falling in their laps? What were your takeaways from the draft?
I mean, similar to what Adam said, I mean, the fact that QB1 Justin Fields fell to number 11 is absolutely insane to me. I think what shocked a lot of people was the fact that Trey Lance went number 3 too. I mean, a lot of the talk was Mac Jones or Justin Fields, and here goes Trey Lance number 3. So, I mean, I don't know. There was a lot of shocking things this weekend, but those are probably 2 of the ones that stick out to me.
Yeah, I first off, I look at the Trey Lance thing, and then at least the talk about trading Garoppolo. Trey Lance is not ready to play this season, which is a concern for the number 3 pick. You know what I mean? The number 3 pick should be starting at least by like week 3, week 4. I mean, is Trey Lance that guy?
Probably not. It's pretty simple. I mean, he's going to be good, but he's very inexperienced. Only 1 year at North Dakota State, and that was a year ago. I think he only played in 1 game this season, so only 1 full year under his belt, and now you're expecting him to take over an NFL franchise that has the Super Bowl in their mind. It's kind of a rough situation for him.
So as we continue, right? Let me again. I have talked about this enough, but let me just go over my kind of ground rules of what I look at for draft picks. Donovan didn't start by week 3, and that ended up being. It wasn't a reach because they brought him in with the intention of you're going to sit behind Peterson for a while. Is Garoppolo the guy to groom? We don't know. Is Garoppolo like a Peterson, or is Garoppolo like, no, this is still my team? It's the same thing actually out in Chicago. Like, if I'm Andy Dalton, I'm pretty pissed off.
For sure.
Right? He even went on record. Yeah, I was told I'm going to be the starter. Okay, but now you got Justin Fields and Nick Foles. Like, who is Nick Foles is gone, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's done if he retires. I mean, he talked about it before. I just don't think there's a place for him to play in this league anymore. He's probably gone.
Yeah. Unless it's Philly, because it's apparently the only place that he has any kind of success. So
yeah,
right. The other move that kind of surprising to me as far as the draft, before we kind of focus into Eagle stuff, is Dallas turning into linebacker city. Right? So, Adam, you rolling your eyes, you're shaking your head. What are your thoughts?
I get the idea. So I'll start with the Parsons pick. I think Parsons is going to be one of those guys where he kind of fell to you. You're going to build around him on defense. Even if you have a pretty decent player at that position, he's the type of guy you're going to change your defense. It's kind of like when LeBron switches teams. Whatever your mentality was before LeBron, you have LeBron, you're building around him now. Parsons, for me, is going to be that type of guy in defense. So, okay, you brought him in, but then you took Jabril Cox, and you have Jalen Smith, and you have Leighton Vander Esch. So you have 4 pretty great linebackers. All right, you'll have the best linebacker room in the NFL, but what about the rest of your defense? Your cornerbacks are still awful. You have no defensive line. So, yeah, your linebackers are going to be great, but they can't cover, they can't blitz, they can't do everything for you.
Right.
I think back to earlier in the offseason, they talked about if Jalen Smith doesn't take a pay cut, they might cut him. So, I mean, he might not even be there also next year.
Vander Esch, they basically just cut him temporarily as well. That happened today. Vander Esch is right now technically a free agent. Now, all likelihood is that he will be back. But, the one that surprised me is that Jabril Cox fell as far as he did. I know he's kind of like a one-trick pony, and he's got to have a system that fits him perfectly. But with already taking Parsons, you're building a system around him, like Adam said. So to me, I was surprised that Dallas took him.
I think all of Dallas's picks were truly surprising. I keep mentioning the Nahshon Wright, the cornerback from Oregon State. He was like one of the worst rated or scouted cornerbacks since 1980. And they took him in the 3rd round. Well, unless they have a scout that, saw something really valuable in him as a steal, it's a pretty big reach because he was projected to be undrafted and he was going in the 3rd round. So unless you really saw something and you knew a team wanted him, they addressed the cornerback position, but I don't think they came anywhere near to fixing the cornerback position.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk Eagles. Obviously, the true fans paid attention through day 2. And then day 3, the team was very busy. So I want to talk about some of these picks. Obviously, I think we can agree that Devonta Smith was the right pick, 100%. They traded back, then they traded back up, and they still got their guy. Personally, I'm concerned about the size. I do think he's very small for the NFL. However, dude is a beast. So, I mean, at the 10 spot, was Devonta Smith the right guy, or should they have gone a different route?
I mean, look who was available at 10. I mean, Jamar Chase was gone, Pitts was gone, Surtain was gone, Sewell was gone, Waddle was gone. He was the last one left. So, kind of fell into our laps. It made the decision easier.
And the Giants were going to take him at 11.
Which makes it even better. It kind of like, all right, so knowing that the Giants were taking a wide receiver or they're taking at least a pass catcher makes the decision better. I was really hesitant after we traded back from 6, but Pitts and Chase weren't going to be there. And the fact that all the pass catchers plus Surtain plus Horn, all these guys wouldn't have been available. Howie had a real hard time to screw that 10th pick up by deciding between 2 players. So by eliminating all of those issues, made it a pretty easy pick.
So it wasn't that he was the smartest person in the room. It was that he had no damn choice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, great. Intern Mike, did you like the Devonta Smith pick?
I did. I mean, like Adam said, he's the only one there left. I mean, I would have either taken Smith or we had to move back and go get somebody else. I mean, I saw someone pose the question in our writers chat yesterday. Would you rather have Devonta Smith or the trade that the Giants got with the Bears, which I thought was an interesting aspect to look at, and I'm not sure which one I'd rather have, to be honest.
The Giants so historically do not trade their picks because Gettleman doesn't want to get fleeced. He has gone on record saying, I don't want to get screwed out of some of these players. So the fact that the Giants traded as many times as they did was a big surprise to me.
I think it's just a haul they got. You can't give that up.
Yeah.
No.
Especially now all their players that they wanted were off the board too.
True. And I look at it. So if, again, our writers chat said, which would you rather have? I'm better with Devonta Smith because we already kind of have a haul right now in the first round of next year. You know what I mean? I think we have 10% of the first round picks.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Look at it that way. The Philadelphia Eagles in 2022 have 10% of the first round picks. That's fantastic. Of course, provided that we get the actual one from Carson Wentz. So I know we got to say that, but all right.
Hopefully.
Let's talk about the pick that divided the nation. And by the nation, I mean Eagles Nation. Landon Dickerson.
Knew this was coming.
Oh, you're damn right it was coming. Okay. A first-round pick for me must play by the end of the first season and be a contributor. Like, legitimate starter. Early on in the first season. A second-round pick for me needs to be ready to start by the end of the first season and a starter by year 2. I have said that all last season with why I was upset that Jalen Hurts was drafted. And then it just so happens that he's going to be the starting quarterback. So my formula checks out. Landon Dickerson, as it stands right now, does not fit that equation because of the injuries. Now, if healthy, he's the best lineman in the draft, hands down, correct?
Top two, I'd probably say.
Penei Sewell?
Interior lineman, clear number 1. Overall lineman, it's kind of a flip-flop between him and Sewell.
Okay. And Dickerson, if I'm correct, can play all positions on the line, right?
Definitely the inside.
I thought I heard that.
He's a freak athlete.
Positions in the center. I'm not sure about either tackle.
Okay. So as far as a preventative move, as far as a planning ahead move, the one thing I think the Dickerson move really does do is it lets everybody know that the Eagles do view this as a rebuild season. They know there are so many holes on this team that, you know what, we're not going to fill them all. And I think the whole draft actually showed that pretty drastically, in my opinion. I like the Dickerson move if healthy, but I am very concerned with taking a player that is already injury prone into this room, which has injury prone players since joining the NFL. I'm not trying to formulate the all injured squad. I mean, Adam, am I wrong here? Tell me why Landon Dickerson is the right pick at the right time.
So obviously injuries is the big concern with him. If healthy, without question, this guy's going to be a top 10 pick, in my opinion.
Okay.
If healthy. So when you look for injuries, what position on any football team gets hurt the most? Offense and defensive linemen. They're getting hit every play. You know, it can happen to truthfully anybody. Someone loses their balance, rolls on someone's ankle. It can happen to everybody. You're out 3 to 4 weeks with a sprained ankle. I think for Dickerson is everyone is saying he's going to be the backup or the not backup, but replacement for Jason Kelce.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Jason Kelce has probably a year, maybe pushing it 2.
Uh-huh.
I still like the idea of bringing him in for the reason of how big he is and how much space he takes up. I would watch the film. You can't really see any weaknesses with him except the injury history. And I think the one big reason I like this is the value on Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders just went up. I think our running game just went from pretty bad to our run blocking went from bad to good. And now, this is going to take a little bit of pressure off, Sanders and Hurts. We already watched last year with Wentz. He was getting hit every play.
Right.
Dickerson's going to minimize Jalen's hits.
If he's on the field.
That's every player, though. Everyone gets hurt.
I know it's every player, but to take a guy, again, for me, to take a guy with 4 season-ending injuries in 5 seasons, and it's all lower body, that's a big concern.
But I think it's also the Eagles. We're not competing for the next 3 years, truthfully.
And that's what I was.
We might compete next year because the NFC East sucks. The fact that we have an opportunity to get top 10 talent at 37 in a rebuild, take the risk. This is the time. Now, if this was 2018 where we're coming off a Super Bowl, hell no, I don't want Landon Dickerson because we're competing for a Super Bowl. But right now, we're not competing. We're competing for a top 10 pick next year. Take the risk. For me, it's a risk because, you might not pan out. It might be like Sidney Jones and play 5 games. But we're not competing for another. I still think we're 5 years away from being 5 years away.
Yeah, I know I know this season is a rebuild year. So again, getting Dickerson in the room and seeing how Brooks responds to the injuries, seeing if Isaac is going to move over to center, seeing how much longer Kelsey's got. I like the idea of having him in the room and having one less position. Adam, what's going on? Maybe having one less position if it does pan out that you have to spend one of your first round picks on next season. I get all that. I just, the injuries are a big concern. Intern Mike, tell me, was it the right pick? Was it the wrong pick? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Talk to me.
All right. Well, pre-draft, I was huge. I wanted Asante Samuel Jr. I really did. I thought it would be really cool to have him back here with our ties with his dad and all that. And we needed a corner, but after Howie made the pick, I sat and thought about it, and I like it for a few reasons. He can play 3 different positions on the offensive line, right? So next year, if we were to take another interior lineman, there's no limitations on if it needs to be a center or a guard, because if the best player available is a center, we could play him at guard. We have that flexibility, which is good. I know there's injury concerns. He's had, what you said, 4 season-ending injuries the past 5 years, and their lower body. But at the offensive line, I feel like that's not as concerning. If it was a skill position player, he has 4 season-ending injuries. Hell no, stay away from me. I'll take us 3 playing a skill position over one of them type of guys. But
yeah,
I feel like at the offensive line, it could be freak stuff where people get rolled up on, stuff like that. But injuries are a concern. But at the offensive line, I think we'll be all right.
And I hope we are. I hope that this is the situation where we're like, Howie, you son of a bitch, you did it again. I just don't know if it. Look, again, the injuries are a concern. If you look at the first couple picks, right? Wide receiver, offensive lineman, defensive tackle. Those are positions, in my opinion, going into the draft that were not glaring weaknesses, gaping holes. Right? Wide receiver, you have a bunch of young guys and a wide receiver-driven coach who we need to see what he can get out of these players. Now, Devonta Smith, I love the pick. He is an absolute stud. We'll see how it translates to the NFL. Offensive line, we are at least, if everyone's healthy, there's that phrase, if everyone's healthy, 5 caliber starters. Dillard potentially as a caliber backup. Driscoll potentially as a caliber backup. Herbig potentially as a caliber backup. So we're at least 8 deep offensive linemen. That was not a second-round need, in my opinion. Then you get Milton Williams, a defensive tackle. Again, we have defensive linemen. Yes, they're aging, but that was not a bit. We had a glaring hole at corner, a glaring hole at linebacker. The fact that neither of those 2 positions were addressed in the first 3.5 rounds I think that's the weakest part of the draft, in my opinion.
I think the fact that next year we hopefully have 3 first-round picks, we definitely have 2, and there's a lot of good players on the defensive side of the ball in the first round that could be taken. So I wrote it in an article earlier that Jalen Hurts this year, the most important thing is finding out if he is the guy. If he's the guy and we could take 3 players to surround this team and not being a quarterback, that speeds up this rebuild like by a year or 2. And
right.
So I think the fact that we have 3 first-round picks next year, why take a second-round corner this year that might not be a superstar lockdown corner when you could take a legit lockdown number 1 corner next year?
No, totally. I mean, I think another idea I think about it is, who was available. The board didn't really fall in our favor at 37 or 73, in my opinion.
Right.
I think a lot of the cornerbacks I was high on were already off the board at least at 37. And I know the idea of Asante Samuel Jr. Was all Eagles fans wanted him because of his previous connections. But
yeah,
I think the board just wasn't in our favor, especially with Dickerson at 37. It's kind of one of those pick guys that's like, should we take the risk? We are in a rebuild. And then when it comes to Milton Williams, he was a guy I've seen play for a couple of years when La Tech would come play at Marshall, and guy was insanely athletic. He was electric. You could tell who the best athlete on the field was. So when I found out the Eagles took him, I was jumping for joy just because I've seen the guy play multiple times, and he was been phenomenal. I've been kind of thinking, like, our defensive line is aging. Derek Barnett, I think, is going to get cut to save money.
Okay.
So
see that would make more sense to me then about why you drafted 2 defensive tackles and a D line and a D end. I
think it's the big thing. Is like Barnett, I think, is going to get cut just for the fact that we need to save money on the cap space. And you look at the NFC East. No one really has a strong, offensive line. Get a pretty elite defensive line and bully the offensive line and the quarterback.
It's what worked for Washington. Absolutely.
I mean, you got to look at our cornerbacks are going to be useless if the quarterback has a whole minute to throw the ball in the pocket. Our linebackers aren't going to be able to do anything. It's the same thing with our quarterback. If our offensive line is horrible, then Jalen Hurts is going to have no time to throw the ball. He's going to get hit 100 times a game. He's going to throw 5 interceptions, and he's going to be on his way to Indianapolis by next year.
Oh, could you imagine? So first off, when Indianapolis drafted the kid out of Texas, the quarterback out of Texas, man, I felt really bad for Carson Wentz now that there is a quarterback competition in Indianapolis again, because they must value the backup quarterback position.
They're trying to be a quarterback factory. Frank Reich is trying to copy what they did in Philly.
The fact that the Eagles didn't draft a quarterback. Now, Johnny is very high on this undrafted free agent that we signed. He has not stopped talking about it. Somebody explain to me why we need to be really excited about Jamie Newman.
He was the first 30 seconds in the draft show yesterday. He mentioned Jamie Newman.
Within the first 30 seconds. Okay. I want to make sure that he didn't put together a collage of our new practice squad quarterback. Go ahead.
No, 30 seconds he mentioned him. Tom said it was a record for how quickly he mentioned him.
Oh my God. What is it about this guy? Does he pee gold? What is it?
It's Jamie Newman, man.
It's Jamie.
He took Wake Forest to the promised land.
He's a guy though that probably gets drafted this year if someone doesn't convince him to opt out for whatever reason he did.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, listen, you can never have too many quarterbacks, especially here in Philadelphia.
Said
Yes. Said Hallie Kesman. Yeah. So basically, look, I like the idea of having the third string quarterback. We know that there is going to be a quarterback competition. For those of you listening, I'm doing air quotes right now.
No one has to win the backup spot.
Yeah, there should be, but Joe Flacco is going to be your backup. Newman's going to be your practice squad clipboard holder. And, we'll go from there. If anybody goes down with an injury, we'll go from there. I think my favorite pick, though, is Kenneth Gainwell, running back out of Memphis. I loved this pick because the running backs that have come out of Memphis recently have been good. He's better. He is an exceptional running back. So anybody that can split carries with Miles Sanders, keep Boston Scott off the field. I mean, I am a big Kenneth Gainwell fan. And the fact that we got him in the 5th round, you want to talk about somebody that fell? I think he had, a 3rd round grade?
Mm-hmm. I had a 3rd round grade on him.
So overall, and I'm going to start with intern Mike. Intern Mike, I'm a teacher, so give me your grade on the Philadelphia Eagles 2021 draft.
Me and Adam are going to be exact here. We talked about it the other day. We both were around the B+ area, you know. I think the Devonta Smith pick definitely weighs in heavily on the grade, you know. And I think a lot of people were angry strictly because of the injury history with the 2nd round pick and the fact that there's not very many big names selected throughout the rest of the draft, you know, and there's a lot of question marks with those type of players. So I think everybody needs to relax on that front. Let the guys play and let's see what they got before we rush to judgment.
Okay. And Adam, you are agreeing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd B+ kind of a thing. I think the draft board didn't fall in our favor. Like if it had an option between, you know, like cornerback like Eric Stokes, Tyson Campbell, Greg Newsome, if they were there at 37, I definitely would rather have one of those guys over Landon Dickerson. But however, I think the only reason I would give him a B, not an A, just because the draft board just didn't fall in our favor, and that's completely out of our control. It's out of Howie's control. He obviously had an opportunity to trade back, but to get 10 guys 10 guys that can make impacts for us next year, pretty good. We filled in holes that we needed to. Can't complain. We didn't reach. Big things. I don't think we reached for any player, which is why I was really worried about that. We were going to take a guy at 37 who should be taken at pick 137.
Yeah, which we have been known to do. I don't like to give grades right away. What I will say is that 2nd round pick is such a question mark. So you guys are saying B+. I'll go to the B- range simply because that 2nd round pick is such a chance. If it pans out, it's an A draft because your top 2 picks should result in absolute stud players. That 2nd round pick says a lot right now. I'm gonna throw one at you that you didn't know was coming your way. We've now had a year removed. I need you to regrade the 2020 draft. I'll start. I originally had the Philadelphia Eagles. So again, here are your picks: Jalen Reagor, Jalen Hurts, Davion Taylor, Kayvon Wallace, Jack Driscoll, John Hightower, Sean Bradley, Quez Watkins, Prince Tega, and Casey Toohill. I originally had this draft as a B or a B+, I forget which one, because I was actually, out of all the picks, most high up on Kayvon Wallace and Prince Tega. I thought those guys were steals. No, I think I had a C because I was furious about the Jalen Hurts thing. We're a year removed. What say you?
I think for me, I would probably keep it at a B. You know, Reagor obviously so far hasn't truly panned out, obviously, and it goes back to who was picked right after him. He had the best rookie season for a wide receiver, broke all Randy Moss's receiving records. You know, you reached for Jalen Hurts. You created a quarterback controversy that was rough, but Jalen Hurts earning the job in Philly. Kayvon Wallace is earning the spot in Philly. John Hightower is a bum, but
there it is. There's the positivity.
But it's like you don't expect all these players to pan out. You know, some are going to be.
You don't.
But you know, Sean Bradley's not been horrible.
We don't know about some of these guys. That's what kills me. In an absolute dog crap firestorm of a season, we learned nothing about some of these guys.
And I think it's also tough of all years to judge players last year. It was a COVID year.
Adam's not happy.
I think it's a COVID year. I mean, just a weird year. There's no training camps. There's no preseason. These guys were thrown in week 1. And, players get out because they contacted COVID. They came in contact. I had a thing all last year. I didn't think a single coach should have lost their job last year because of the weird situation that last year was. However, all these coaches are getting fired. But I hate to judge all these players and all these situations off of last year. If last year was a completely normal year and that's how they all panned out, sorry, Howie, you might be out of here a little bit quicker.
A little bit. Intern Mike would say you regrade last season's draft class.
I was around like a B plus B last year. I really liked the draft. I thought they did a great job. I mean, the Jefferson. I wanted Jefferson there, but I felt like Doug Peterson was our coach. He drafted for his scheme, like what they needed with the Rieger pick, which turns out probably not to be the right decision.
No.
But there's still a lot of question marks about that draft, as many as there are about this draft that we just had, So I think you bump down the grade a little bit in the C area. And I mean, if Jalen Hurts is our franchise quarterback, that grade goes way up.
If Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback and Jalen Reagor makes something of himself as the first round 21st pick in the draft.
For sure. And I don't think he had a terrible year. He had the injury bug, he tore something in his thumb. He had to get surgery on. I mean, it's injuries like that playing receiver are tough to come back from midseason. You're catching the ball left and right. I mean, there was nobody with talent on the field besides him. I mean, it's just hard to judge. He's got another legit receiver across from him. Let's see what he's got this year.
True, and I like the receiving core as it stands right now. I mean, I think that if Nick Sirianni, and he's a very excitable man, if he is as good at dealing with wide receivers as he seems to be, then I think you're going to see some absolute flourishing, which I'm excited for. Before we switch gears again, don't forget to vote for Don Conaway multiple times each day from now until Friday. $20,000 and bragging rights over Oilers and Penguins fans. So that's really actually the only thing. But Adam, I said this again, you can vote multiple times. You can vote through Facebook, vote through Twitter, vote through MySpace. Hell, if you have a Zanga, vote through your Zanga. I don't even know if intern Mike probably has no clue what the hell a Zanga is.
I got no idea what you're talking about.
Neither do I.
Hey? Wow. That's probably because I'm slightly older than both you find. Zanga was like an online journal.
You're showing your age.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Speaking of my good ear. So yeah, make sure you vote for Don multiple times again. That's Don. All right. Intern Mike. We're gonna switch gears to the boys of summer over here. So intern Mike, a few weeks ago, you wrote an article talking about how you, as GM Mike, would fix the Philadelphia Phillies. I want you to talk about the article a little bit, and I want you to talk about what has changed over the last couple of weeks, or if you would change anything. So, intern Mike, the spotlight is on you.
All right. So when you go for trade pieces in the MLB, I mean, it's still a little bit too early. And when I wrote the piece, it's a little early. Every team's around the same record. You don't know who's going to be a playoff caliber team and who's not. One of the guys I would love, he's one of my favorite players in the MLB. We got a glaring need at center field. I would love Ramon.
Do we?
I would love Ramon Laureano. Ever since it came out when the Astros cheated, and the next year he fought like their entire team on the field, like I fell in love with that guy. I mean, it was awesome. And
he was born to be a Philly, in all honesty.
Yeah, exactly. I would love a guy like that, but the Athletics turn it around this year. They're back in the hunt. But we got a glaring need there, center field. We definitely need a fourth, a fifth pitcher. We need a leadoff hitter. I mean, there's a lot more holes on this team than I would like there to be for a team that can compete for a playoff spot. But yeah.
So let's pick an issue. How about that? Let's pick an issue here.
You have all the options in the world.
Yeah.
So many options. So before we get anywhere, I want to talk about an issue that the Phillies really can't control. Actually, I'm going to hold off on that. We're going to bitch about umping in a couple minutes. Let's push that aside for a second because I have some thoughts. Matt's telling me Roman Quinn has hit a triple. So the world is officially ending. I also know that Vinny Velasquez is pitching. He's pitching pretty well. He is 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts currently. So again, the world is ending because Vinny Velasquez is ready to be a starter. Well, he's out of the game now, but he did that.
Never again.
Let's start with pitching because it always starts with pitching. This pitching staff, both starters and bullpen, is not good enough. It's just not. It is not good enough. The Matt Moore experiment is an abomination. Never should have happened in the first place. Yeah, he's a high-ranked guy, but he's not that guy anymore. Go back to Japan, sir.
Yeah, he could get shipped back overseas. He's not an MLB pitcher.
No. Chase Anderson, not a major league pitcher. If he is your 5, that's
you could get away with it. Yeah.
You can get away with it, and that's what he is. But when your 4 is as bad as he is, that's where you start having problems. When your 4 is now Vinny Velasquez, like, I don't understand. And then you look at the bullpen, and, I know they're going to say, well, injuries. Last night, you had pitchers who couldn't throw strikes. Point blank, could not throw strikes. I understand that this team was built with the idea of, hey, we're an offensive powerhouse. They're averaging 3 to 4 runs per game, which means you have to rely on what? Pitching. And this pitching staff isn't different enough to be considered good. It's just not.
Our bullpen's definitely improved, but there is a big drop off from our top 3 guys to everybody else, and that's the problem. We're missing 2 of them right now, and the days that they can't pitch, it's just a complete shit show out there. There's just guys, like you said, they can't hit the strike zone. That if they do hit the strike zone, the ball's going over the fence. I mean,
yeah. I look at the starters, and Aaron Nola is a fantastic pitcher. He is right on the cusp of greatness. I still think that he is still a little too erratic. And I know I get arguments on Twitter all the time about this. I think he is not consistent enough to be called an ace yet.
Sure.
I think, an ace is a guy like DeGrom who goes out and you know what you're going to get from him. That's what an ace is to me. So regardless of 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, do you know you're going to get 7 strong from him every time out? Aaron Nola's not that guy. Wheeler's not that guy.
He's
Eflin.
Closer. He's closer
Eflin
to that
is not
guy.
that guy. Right. Yep. Wheeler is closer to that guy. And I was going to say that. What were you going to add on about Wheeler and his ability to pitch?
He's also inconsistent, but I just think he brings a lot more consistency than Aaron Nola does. You see Aaron Nola, when he's on, he's one of the top 3, 4, 5 pitchers in baseball. But that's a very rare occasion, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I love Aaron Nola and I want him to find success. I just the term ace to me gets thrown around too much.
For sure.
Adam, you're nodding. Is Aaron Nola an ace?
He's an ace for the Phillies,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not an ace in the eyes of Major League Baseball. I don't think we've had one of those since Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee. And I think if we want to make a playoff run and make a deep playoff run, because I think that's kind of the goal once you get to the playoffs, it's not going to be that guy. I think Wheeler's going to be that guy simply for the fact that he can also be really useful at the plate as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like, with Nola, it's like we're in the 5th inning and we're up 3-2, bases loaded, all crap. Well, we don't want to put our pitcher in to ground out. But it's Wheeler, it's like, let's bring
He
Wheeler
hit the ball.
in.
Hell, Vinny Velasquez can hit the ball.
Yeah, it's I think with Wheeler, you're getting a lot more just because he can produce at the plate. Nola, again, there's consistency, and he's not going to really produce much else at the plate for us. We're a National League team. We got to worry about that. Our bullpen is not something like the American League where our pitcher can go an extra inning or two because we get the designated hitter spot. Right. We're in the National League where fourth inning rolls around, fifth inning rolls around, we need to start looking at our bullpen and who's ready to go and who's not ready to go.
The center field absolute shit show that is going on it's inexcusable. And we said preseason, when we looked at the Phillies, we said the glaring weakness is the center field position. There isn't a good one on this roster. And, they'll be able to get away with it. It's fine. It's 1 weak spot. Y'all, it is now past the point where it's okay. Because Hazley has failed. Quinn has failed. Moniak has failed. Odubel has failed. And now there's talk about putting Nick Maton in center field. One's Didi and Gene Segura back. We're putting Nick Maton has not played outfield since Little League, y'all. Little League.
We're getting to the point where we need to start going deep into the toolbox and bringing out stuff that might not be ethical. I'm getting close to the idea that Bryce Harper might be making that move to center, just because he is the leader of this team, and people listen to him, and he has the best arm on the team. There really isn't much options else to do. McCutchen's not as quick as he was before. We really got.
So in that situation, you're willing to replace the whole outfield.
Let's move Harper to center. I mean, you got to keep.
So
Harper
if you move Harper to center, because McCutchen's struggling in left field already, do you keep McCutchen in left? And who do you put in right?
Girl and put her out in left field over him, or that guy who caught that foul ball barehanded. The Phillies today saying, "My arm feels great. I can catch a ball. Sign me to a contract." He's getting to the point where he might be our best option.
God, I mean,
you brought up the Andrew McCutchen thing. I think our center field, if we make a trade for a center fielder, it can solve two issues in one. We have Andrew McCutchen. The center. Let's start at the beginning. We knew there was one hole on this team. It was center field, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, all right, it's just one hole. We'll be all right. But then comes around our leadoff hitter, Andrew McCutchen. We're not getting anything out of him. So there are our leadoff hitters not getting anything. Alec Boehm is in a slump. And then we got our 8-hole hitter who, I'd rather
it's a guaranteed out along with the 9 spot.
I'd rather literally hit 2 pitchers than bat our center fielder right now. So I think if we make a trade for a center fielder, it needs to be for a guy that can be our leadoff hitter. Because if McCutchen can slide into that 8-hole, then, his play is much better than we're getting there.
Yeah. Here's one thing that we can say, and it's been about 2 weeks since we had the big Odubel conversation. Maybe it was last week. Odubel, in my opinion, has done nothing that we can now cut him for baseball-related moves.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
He has one hit, and it's a bunt.
Well, he had a hit tonight. He's 1 for 3. He did score a run. But I think his average, along with the other center fielders, it's sub 100. I think but again, you would calm the fan base down very quickly. But right now, is Odubel the best option, or is Roman Quinn the best option? Or is Mickey Moon? What is the best option with the current lineup? Barring a trade, what is the best option with the Phillies?
Unfortunately, I do think it's Odubel. I think
I agree.
He's shown flashes before that he could be a legit MLB player. Now, that was a few years ago. But he's at least shown it. These other guys, they've never shown it. They've never shown it in the minors. They sure as hell haven't shown it in their short time up in the majors. So, yeah. I mean, Adam, who's playing center field on this playoff push of a season?
If we want to push to the playoffs, I think you'd say it's Odubel. I think he's the only one who's earned the position. But I'm going to kind of go towards Moniak. I just don't think he's ready. But at this point, there's real no difference between him and Odubel. Odubel's not the future. Moniak's the future. Let's get him some at-bats. Let's hope he finds his spark. Not much else we can really do. Moniak has room to grow. Odubel has no room to grow.
What do you gentlemen think of the Nick Maton idea being floated out there just to keep his bat and his excitement in the lineup on a daily basis?
It's not Little League anymore, right? You can't just throw guys wherever you want. I mean,
Sure.
Why is Scott Kingery where Scott Kingery is right now?
Oh, we forgot about Scott Kingery. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because Gabe Kapler said, here, go learn 8 other positions besides the one you actually play.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're going to ruin this kid before he even gets a chance to be something. I feel like, I mean, if it works out, great, but Joe Girardi hasn't made a good move all season. So for me to trust him to put him in center field,
He really hasn't. And I've heard rumors that he was stubborn Joe. Like he has his way of doing things, and that is the way of doing things. I just didn't actually see it until this season.
yeah, I guess last year with the shortened season and our bats were on fire, we just blamed the bullpen and nothing else. But I mean, maybe Joe Girardi putting some of them guys in rough situations contributed to that. I mean, you've seen him do it. We've gone to David Hale in some of these tough situations over the past 2-3 weeks, and it's just like, why? Every time we put him in these situations, he fails.
Oh, you mean like last night with the bases clearing double?
Yeah,
on the first pitch,
or a week ago with the Trevor Story grand slam. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So analytics say don't put David Hale in the game with the bases loaded.
Yeah, right.
Guys, analytics, they're always right.
Effing analytics, man. All right, so wait. Let's spend, and again, let me preface this next segment with, I am an umpire. Let me preface this next section with saying, I am an umpire, and I am very, very slow to criticize other umpires unless they are doing a glaringly bad job. So now I've said that, right? Everyone has heard that. That's on camera. That is recorded. What in the flying hell is going on with Major League umpires right now?
So I'll go on record too, kind of with you. I don't umpire, but I referee football and basketball, like high school level stuff, and I try to always side with the referees as much as I can. Until it gets blatantly obvious. The ball hit the seat yesterday. The ball clearly hit the seat. And they overturned it saying it didn't. It's stuff like that where it's like, it clearly says that you saw this. You can't argue the video. Video never lies. So, that part I don't really have I have a hard time blaming the umpire. Because once you go to replay, they're not making a decision. It goes to wherever the video replay is. I know NBA Secaucus. I'm not sure MLB, probably New York. Whoever is there, what are they looking at?
So
looking at that play.
I looked at the same video, and I thought maybe it did hit the pole. Maybe it did hit the seat, like you said. Here's the problem. The qualification to overturn a call has got to be clear and convincing evidence. Here we are 24 hours later, and we're still arguing about whether a game-tying home run hit a pole or a seat.
So I know one thing. I think it was a football referee camp I was at, and I was talking to a guy. He referees, I think, in the Big 10 or Big 12, one of the two. And he's like, you always make the call that can cause the review. So in the NFL, if it's a touchdown or not, you're calling it a touchdown so you can go to a review.
Correct.
So if that's how they want to do it in baseball, fine. You want to go to review, go to the review. You have the equipment there. But the running out of the baseline.
Adam put this comment up. Go ahead.
I didn't get to that one. Yeah, but he ran out of the base, or saying he ran out of the baseline. He didn't touch the grass. How to say he out of the baseline, like it's like stuff like that. It's like, why are we going to replay?
Well, it's a judgment call. We can't review that.
It's stuff like that. It's like, if it's borderline in the baseline, out of the baseline, just call it in the baseline. You stayed in the baseline. Don't make. I always was told as a referee, if you can stay out of the game and you're not remembered the next day, you did a great job. If the right team won, you can stay out of the conversation the next day. The referee, umpire did their job. Umpires didn't do their job. They are the conversation of what happened.
Right.
My one,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
my one thing with the referees nowadays, and it's just a rule surrounding these professional sports. Like Adam was saying, like, why can't we review that? Like, you have this technology. Why is everything not reviewable? Why, like, so that we don't have these situations in such big moments come up. Like, there should be more things that could be reviewable. Like, if you have the technology, why not?
Yeah. Why does so part of I'm going to give you guys an example of something, right? So just yesterday, I was umping a 2-man crew game. So it was me and my partner. My partner was behind the plate. I was on the bases. There was a situation where there was and the score was really lopsided, so I didn't feel terrible with the call the way it was. But there was a situation where kid hit the ball into his own foot, right? So the call, of course, is
dead ball.
Dead ball, foul ball. The problem is with a 2-man crew, the behind the plate ump couldn't see it. And my job as the base ump was to start watching the bases right away. So I didn't physically see it. The kid goes to first base. He gets to first base because he hits the ball into play. First base coach, he hit his foot like he's clearly here. Can you ask for help? I talked to my partner. He goes, I didn't see it, right? Because he's behind the plate. I said, I was looking at the bases. I didn't see it either. We're going to stick with the original call. He was on first base. It was fine. It was what it was. After the inning, I went over to the coach. I said, Coach, let me just be very clear. Like, I didn't see it, and I didn't want to make a call that I didn't see. He goes, I respect that. I totally understand it. As an umpire, if you can support why you're making the calls you're making, you will get more respect from the coach. And the fact that I was willing to go out of my way to say, just so you know, if I was wrong, I apologize. And the coach said, yeah, I told him next time to sell it like Jeter. Then we would know. But he just hustled down the first base line like everything was fine. Again, my response to the coach was, if it did hit him, I didn't see it. I'm not making a call I didn't see. Mm-hmm. I had no issues with that coach the entire game. Why are Major League Baseball umpires, and normally they don't overturn calls. See, that's what was surprising about the home run call last night. Normally they don't overturn calls.
I think it's a big thing. It's like these guys, like this is their job and livelihood. No, players on the Phillies, they're fighting for their jobs too. Are fighting for their jobs. If they don't perform well, they're going back to AAA. And so same thing for these umpires. If they don't perform well, they're going right down to AAA. So if there's consistent, like, still confused how Angel Hernandez has a job in Major League Baseball. But you know, if you miss a call, like you go to a camp, like an umpiring camp, and you miss a call, you know, well, day one, I just missed a call. I'm not getting hired. So I'm assuming that's the kind of mentality. You have this mindset of, I'm a Major League umpire. I'm always right. I'm going to be right. I'm the best of the best. I have to be right. And
I can tell you, I'm in enough umpiring groups on Facebook with other umpires around the country. That's the thought process. You're 100% right.
It's, I mean, for basketball, you know, you get all these guys that you go to a camp, you go to a tournament, and you're trying to get brought onto the G League or Division I basketball, and it's the first game, first half, and you blow a call, you botch a rule, and you have to now live with the rest of that tournament realizing, well, I'm not getting hired because I screwed that one call up.
You know, it spirals too. Yeah.
You miss one call and that haunts you, and a coach gets on you, especially early, and they just remind you of that game, and you can't manage the court, manage the field. You're done for. You're absolutely done for.
I will tell you, I am either 7 or 8 years into this. Never ejected a player or a coach. Never once. Why? Because I go the opposite way. I do a lot of Little League and like Connie Mack and like 13, 14-year-old baseball. So I'm a very friendly umpire. much like my current demeanor. And to get ejected for me, you would have to seriously do something stupid. Adam is 100% right. Balls and strikes are absolutely terrible too. Speaking of terrible, I want to talk about this because I haven't had the chance since last week. Last week, Bryce Harper was hit in the face with a fastball. The very next pitch, Didi Gregorius was hit in the side with a fastball. As an umpire, the fact that they gave warnings to both benches and ejected Joe Girardi, that pitcher should have been ejected, not because he meant to do it. For one simple reason. It was unsafe to have him in the game.
Totally.
We're not talking like missing by little bits. He was missing by 3 feet and a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
No, totally. I mean, I don't think he meant to do the Bryce.
No.
Bryce. You saw like as soon as he hit Bryce, what his reaction was: hand down, bending over. It wasn't like no Kelly, squaring up to the guy saying "charge me," but he didn't mean to do it. But again, the next pitch he's throwing and hitting Didi, it's unsafe. He's getting people hurt. Has Bryce played since?
Yeah, he played last night.
But it took him a week to get back into playing. So it's like it's unsafe for him to be there. What was the umpire expecting when he warned Joe Girardi? Oh, thanks for the warning, we'll get him next time. No.
And by giving the bench warnings, there wasn't the chance of retaliation, which did happen the next night when Hector Neris flat out plunked a guy. The guy ran to first, like he knew what was up.
That's when I would give warnings. Like the next day, when the first Hector Neris throws at a guy, when it's a clear retaliation.
But that was it. That was the end of it. There were no warnings in that situation either.
But what were they retaliating Didi? You hit Bryce, okay. The Phillies never retaliated. The Cardinals were retaliating against Bryce?
No. So what? Again, the chain of events was Bryce gets hit, Didi gets hit. Both benches get a warning so that nothing else happens. At that point, if you're still throwing at people, it's automatic ejection, automatic suspensions. Girardi gets ejected because he's like, that's horse crap. How can you give warnings? We haven't had a chance to defend ourselves. The next day, in the 9th inning, that's when Hector decides to plunk somebody. Like, okay, we're not going to see you guys again this season. I'm going to plunk you so you know that we're protecting our players. Guy runs right to first base, no issues, no warnings, and that was the end of it. That was the end of it.
It's also
Mike, Mike seems to have some thoughts on this. He's like, Mike, you don't have to hold back here. What are your thoughts?
It just bothers me that it wasn't like he got plunked on the leg or something. Like he got plunked in the face. Like that could be he's luckily okay.
Oh my God.
But that could have been a literally serious injury. Both guys didn't play the next day. Both guys were hurt from getting hit, and the fact that our manager gets ejected and nothing happens to the other team is just insane.
Now, I know the next day, the Cardinals manager did get ejected, hey, he threw my player, blah, 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 fine, whatever. But Girardi's at this point starting to gain, how are you ejecting these players? How are you calling him out of the base zone? That ball was a home run. The umpires are the extra team in the NL East that are screwing over the Phillies. They're the toughest people we have to compete against. I don't know. I am not one to bash umpires. It's just been lately against the Phillies, there have been a chain of events that have not exactly gone the Phillies' way. And it's real simple. Just review stuff and get the calls right. Stop trying to police the game. Just get the calls right. You do not need to be the law on the field. Maintain order. Keep things moving. Be smart. Keep the safety of the game. But besides that, just let the game happen. That's how I feel. We're not going to get too much into the Sixers tonight. They're winning. They almost blew a game last night. Ben Simmons had a dog crap game, but, tipped in at the end. I saw something. Let's just get this out of the Sixers' way. I saw somebody on the Twitter say that Ben Simmons, and I'm going to take initial reactions here from you guys. Probably haven't seen this. That Ben Simmons doesn't love the game of basketball. He plays it to maintain his lifestyle. Adam, you seem to have an initial thought that you'd like to share.
That's just comedy. That's literally, that's clickbait right there. That's literally all it is. It's clickbait. You can't believe that just it's lies. I mean, the guy lives for basketball. He's been around basketball his whole life. His dad was his coach. To say
It's
that
his lifestyle, though.
it's to say that's clickbait. That's just pure comedy. That's comedy.
Intern Mike, do you must agree with it?
I agree. But I think that's a little extreme, but I will say Ben Simmons definitely does care more about the money and the lifestyle than he does about getting better, because he's yet to get better since he got into the league.
Ooh.
And if you think about it, I heard it on the radio a week ago. He's been campaigning for Defensive Player of the Year, right?
Right.
Why is that? Because in two years since he was a Defensive Player of the Year, he can get the Supermax contract. Why else does he care?
Oh, Adam McDaddy, did intern Mike convince you that Ben Simmons doesn't give a crap about the team or the game? He just loves the money and the lifestyle?
I mean, I think he's one of those guys, I don't think he's going to be here for this whole career. I think Embiid will be here for a majority of his career, but I don't think Simmons is. I think Simmons is going to be the guy that leaves for the better contract in the better city. You book his ticket to LA or Miami now, where a lot nicer in, November and December and January than Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But to say that he doesn't like the game of basketball, I think is just pure comedy. No, but he is a guy that I think once he is able to hit free agency, he's gone without question.
I don't know if he deserves a Supermax contract personally. I mean, I think that is not something that he has earned quite yet. I do think,
He'll get it, though, without question.
What's that?
He'll get it. There's no
He will, because there's inflation in the NBA. It's crazy. Hey, Connor Brogdon is currently blowing the game. Hooray.
Nice.
He's gotten 1 out, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and now it's a 4-2 game. So good for Connor Brogdon. But yeah, I think that this season is going to tell a lot. In a couple of weeks, right as we get ready to the playoffs, we're going to do a big chips and dish playoff preview show. But look, I mean, the Sixers last night were at full strength. They went against a Spurs team with 1 starter. We're up by 17 and almost blew the game. Had to go into overtime to win by 2 on a tip in by Ben Simmons. That is a team that needs a fire lit under their ass. We can't coast anymore.
And Doc Rivers is not the guy to do it. He's too worried about the schedule.
Intern Mike, are you not a Doc Rivers fan?
I loved it at first, and it's been this season. I'm just him and Joe Girardi are just they're getting to me. They're just not what I expected.
Well,
I think at least for Doc, we needed to get rid of Brett Brown. There was no hiding that.
No, there was, and we've said that so many times.
That firing was 2-3 years overdue. And if you look at the coaching candidates last year or that were available, he truly was the best option at the moment. Now looking at it, was there a better option? Probably not. But in that moment, best option, I think, for us. And he's obviously, we're now seeing the talent that is on our team. But I think, it's Daryl Morey, who's the real genius behind all of this. And he's realizing, maybe I should put 3 guys that can shoot a 3 ball. So when they triple team Embiid, we can throw the ball out and they can just shoot a 3-pointer. It's literally the LeBron James effect. Cavs won the finals in 2016 because LeBron would drive to the basket, take 4 guys with him, he'd throw the ball out, and J.R. Smith would hit a 3. Same thing with Embiid.
Right.
I should be coaching the Sixers right now. Could tell you what to do.
Wow. All right. Look, the Brett Brown move was over. He was good for what the process was. But when it came time to say, okay, now our goal is to win games, they're like, the fuck was you? We used to lose with you. We used to lose 70 games. We're not – shut up. Doc Rivers provided a championship caliber coach. You have to listen to him. But I do feel like it's starting to fall on deaf ears. Regardless, as we get closer to the playoffs, we know the Sixers are going. It's a question of the seeding. Unlike the Lakers, who are starting to fall out. The Lakers are in danger of not making the playoffs or having to do the play-in situation. So we're gonna see what that looks like.
I like them, especially LeBron bashing the play-in game, and then the conversation of him last year saying that all the teams that barely made the playoffs and barely missed the playoffs should battle it out for the final spot, and now he's involved in that, and he's saying this is the stupidest idea in the world. Whoever made this decision should be fired. It just comes back. Oh, well, it was a great idea until you're involved.
Right, just like give him a damn ear. Yeah, Matt, I know the Flyers won 7-2. What year is it? It's now the year where they don't give a crap anymore. I don't know what to say. When it doesn't matter, they put out an effort like that. When it matters, it doesn't. And they did it to the Penguins, man. Well, look at that. Now it's 4-3. I better get off the air before the Phillies blow the whole thing while we're live. So listen, again, this has been Chips and Dish. Intern Mike, Adam McDaddy, I'm going to give each of you a chance to say your final piece about any topic in regard to Philly sports, national sports. You are spotlighted. So I will start just because you're in the top corner. Intern Mike, your final thoughts on the week that is. Yes, Matt, I know it's Monday. We always win on Mondays. And why is that? Because you watch Chips and Dish, y'all. That's how we do. Intern Mike, final thoughts on the day.
All right, my final thoughts on the Phillies. Number one thing, I want us to go get Starling Marte from the Miami Marlins. Wanted him last year. I need him this year. Need him. He's not a one. He's a need now.
All right.
That is my final thoughts.
Okay. Mr. McDaddy.
Yeah, I'll be straight up honest. I didn't watch, I don't think, a single minute of day 3 of the NFL draft because I was too busy. There's my favorite sporting event of the year was on Saturday. 2 most exciting minutes in sports, the Kentucky Derby. Spent the whole afternoon watching race. Ended the day with a $40 win with Medina Spirit. Great way to end the day, profiting a good handful of money. So I was able to forget about the draft for a little bit and make some money.
There we go.
Adam McDaddy with the first references to horses on Chips and Dish. That is we got a first timer here, Bob. So good on you for winning the money. I like it. If y'all thought I didn't know a lot about hockey, I know that horses have 4 legs and people race them and that jockeys are little. Besides that, and they race 3 big times, and that's called a triple crown if they win them all. Besides that, I am out of the horses.
I really need to know.
There it is. All right, so again, this has been Chips and Dish. Again, let me pay the bills real quick. Again, Hemp Bombs, premium CBD products. Apparently, y'all need to be stoned to listen to me, so there you go for that. 99jersey.com. AAT Birds is where you get the Charlie Conway jersey. It's where you get the Bobby Boucher jersey. It's where you get your movie and throwback jerseys from AAT Birds for a 20% discount at checkout. We are partnered with Statement Games, fun free twist on fantasy sports. We are partnered with oddsjam.com. You can basically use their calculator to bet and not lose money. We have the allaboutthebirds.com shop with all kinds of fun materials. It's Mother's Day coming up, so buy your parents, your mom, my face on a mug, my mug on a mug. They'll love it. Manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Is partnered with All About the Birds. Use the code AATBirds. That line and the undercarriage chafing is the one that kills people. And don't forget, every day, multiple times a day, there is the site. Don Conaway deserves this win. We get to beat Oilers. We get to beat Penguins. Don Conaway, Teacher of the Year, $20,000 for the school district to help a brother out. Gentlemen, it has been Chips and Dish. It has been fun. We end every show here on the All About the Birds Network, of course, with Go Birds.
Go
And
Birds.
we end every Chips and Dish with a wonderful tagline, we're out of beer, so we're out of here. See ya! Support for All About the Birds is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for our listeners, 20% off plus free shipping with the code AATBirds at manscaped.com. Manscaped hooked us up with a bunch of tools and formulations from their Perfect Package 3.0 kit, including the Lawnmower 3.0, which comes with an LED light for a more precise shave and is waterproof to make your shower shave clean and easy. The Perfect Package also includes a deodorant for your undercarriage to prevent odors and chafing, a reviving lotion, a pair of boxers and a t-shirt, not to mention a travel bag to store all your grooming goodies. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBirds at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code AATBirds. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.